So, hello, God bless you, God bless you, God bless you. My name is Pastor Lawrence, King's Covenant Cathedral, Nakuru, Kenya. Well, I want to talk to you about what I've been speaking for the last 3 consecutive months, the journey of life. And the journey of life entails about the destiny of life. Every journey has a destiny, meaning the destination that where you come. But today I want to talk to you about the journey of life and the destiny thereof. One, but I want you to talk to you today about expectations and versus offense. In every journey of life, there is an expectation. One, the expectation, the expected time. When you're in a plane, most of the time you hear the announcement, they say the expected time of arrival of the destination is time so and so. So those are the expectations. So in the event that the expectation or the delay happens, then anxiety starts to grow in the lives of people. When the expectation that is already, the Bible says, chapter 12 in the book of Proverbs, it's chapter 13, sorry, from verse number 12. The Bible says, when the expectation delays, a heart becomes sick. And you know what? I know that in many ways and many times, we combine. I want to keep on saying that many times, and we talk about the journey and the church of the wilderness. The church of the wilderness, it is the church that was headed by Moses, the servant of God. This church of the wilderness, the expectation was so high. In other words, they never questioned, neither asked about the period of arrival of the destination. They thought the arrival of the destination is one day from Egypt, and the next day they were in Canaan, especially about the promises that were made at that particular time. But the Bible says, and after a while, after the setbacks, the first one was at the Red Sea, which God Himself came for them. He delivered them from the hands of Pharaoh. The Bible says God wanted to manifest Himself before Pharaoh to show him the mighty. But in the process of time, when those people were waiting for the deliverance of the Lord, then they never knew that this expectation also, when it delays, it can bring a lot of discomfort, a lot of murmuring, and it makes the heart sick. The Bible says they lamented on the first day they left Egypt, and at the right there at the Red Sea. The journey, and I'm talking about the church that is in the wilderness. This church of the wilderness has so many things that you can learn from them, and if you're not careful about them, it can make you look like your expectation. When it delays, you start doubting God, you start complaining and murmuring, and at the same time you start feeling that something is not working out well in your life. Now, what do you expect? What do you do? Now, even the Bible says in the book of Habakkuk, chapter number 2, if you start reading from verse number 2 all the way to verse number 3, actually, verses number 1, the Bible says, I will stand and watch to see what the Lord will say about my complaint. What does a complaint mean? It means that there's something that you have hoped for some times, but there's a slight delay. That this delay, you're not assured when it will come in, whether it will come when it's one day, whether you come when you are 100 years like Abraham. The Bible says God called Abraham when he was at the age of 75. But God came to fulfill the dream at the age of 70, 100 years is when God came to confirm the covenant, the promise that the Lord gave to Abraham to start a nation. Now, that aside, now this delay, if you are not properly handled, the expectation when it delayed, the Bible says you get sick. Then that is now when the beginning of the whole thing becomes. Because if you read again in the same Habakkuk, it says, though the vision may tarry, but surely to come to pass. Now, the period of the vision to come to pass, it takes some time to train your heart on how to be patient. The Bible says, chapter number 8, in the same Deuteronomy, I, the Lord thy God, who made you to wander through the wilderness for 40 years to test your heart, what was in your heart, whether you'll be able to obey me and respect me. Because sometimes There are things that may come in our lives. If we are not properly handling it properly, you may not acknowledge God. Now, the Bible says, and after they left Egypt and they started a journey, that journey to Egypt, to Canaan, was so not so long because one, they never trained themselves about waiting. What can you do in the process of expectation that to avoid offense? Number one, you must be prepared to have the spirit of waiting. Now that's what the Bible says. Those who wait upon the Lord, the Bible says, He shall renew their strength. Do you know, my friend, one of the greatest, hardest thing that people do in life is about waiting. Waiting is the hardest thing that everybody will do in life. Naturally, we don't like waiting. We want things to go faster, quickly as we're designed. But waiting gives you an opportunity to prepare your heart on how to accommodate and also carry on along the blessings of the Lord and also in the surprises of God. Now we are living in a world full of competition. That's why Paul, when he was exiting the world, he says, I have run my race and I have kept the faith and I have finished the race. You know, running the race, you are not competing the race. There's a difference between running and competing. Paul was running the race. I pray that may you run the race to avoid the offenses, because when you run, you must run with patience. You must run with a lot of patience within your heart, that you cannot be able to get offended, because we live in a generation that is so offended. Because somebody came from the mainstream churches, he came to the Pentecostal church with a lot of expectation. Those are natural things that happen virtually to everybody. When I got born again, I thought when you come to these Pentecostal churches, some of the things that the evangelists were telling you out there at the crusade and even at the motivational speaking meetings, sometimes it gives a lot of hope until you think that thing will happen tomorrow. But now you must be very careful that how to handle that kind of wording that are coming from those motivational speaking, because most of them, if you're not properly handled, it can hurt your life and it can make you become so worried until you doubt God. That's why God was so skeptical, and he said to Moses that these people, because they have doubted me, I will not allow them to enter the land of promise, but save for Caleb and Joshua and their generation. May the Lord give you grace in Jesus' mighty name. My name is Pastor Lawrence. I want to welcome you one more time, King's Covenant Cathedral, right here in Nakuru, Kenya. We are located in Nakuru, last roundabout, ever ready roundabout. On your right as you're going to Eldoret, but on your left as you're going to Nairobi, you keep from Nairobi you keep your right, from Eldoret you keep your left, and the first left, you find out there. The Lord will bless you. Shalom.